Meanwhile, the CIA is doing its own thing with gangsters. People like Johnny Roselli, people like William Harvey.
Can you explain Operation Mongoose?
Mongoose was another operation to subvert the Cuban regime, to blow up things, but not kill Castro, to blow up things, to destabilize the regime, like Northwoods. All these plans are coming in from different departments to derail the Cuban Revolution. Why? Cuban Revolution is very influential all through Latin America. That's why Kennedy wanted this alliance for progress. So he wanted, and he made his thinking was that if I can get Castro to back off any kind, don't fuck with my alliance for progress. We'll let you be. We're not going to come after you. You can have your regime, but we're going to prove to you that the alliance for progress can do it.
Do you think that Kennedy knew how the structure of all the intelligence agencies and the deception and these using agent provocateurs and establishing these false flag events, do you think he was aware of this before he got into office, or was this probably very shocking?
He was shocked by the Bay of Pigs, shocked. His brother, he said they lied. They lied to me. No, he was in charge of the government.
Because the narrative I always heard about the Bay of Pigs is that he fucked them by not bringing in air support.
That's, of course, that's the right way to get it.
Yeah, that's all you ever hear. Yeah.
Yes, in those terms, yes. He failed. The man got stranded on the beach, and he failed to send in air cover. Yes, because he said so. He wouldn't do that. And if they had done it, it would have looked like America's being a bully all over again. They're bombing Cuba, which was what was expected of America. He didn't do it. He was announcing a new kind of America. Crucial to understand. And I think the Bay of Pigs is a funny moment for Kennedy. And he had to take the fall for it. He was furious about it. That Douglas and his group, before he found out about it.
And this is right after he's got into office as well. Yeah, so he's
waking up. Yeah, he's waking up to 61. That was a rough year.
Do you think that he was aware that it was the CIA that was trying to assassinate him, or was it unspecified forces?
Unspecified, he knew. I don't think. First of all, he fired Dulles. That was huge. Bananas. I think that was a great move. He fired Dulles. Richard Bissell was a schemer at Cabell. He fired them. But he didn't clean house. Richard Helms steps in as the major domo there. McCone, he appoints McCone, John McCone, who's an establishment guy to run the CIA. His first choice is too liberal. They destroy that possibility. Hadley Stevens going behind this. So McCone goes in. Helms really runs the show. McCone is a figurehead. He's sent overseas to visit the stations. Helms is the guy who runs this.
Now, what's fascinating...
And by the way, he's the guy we need files on. A lot of files.
I loved it. Elijah tweeted about this, and he was like, still dead, like, these people are still dead and no one cares anymore, and it's just, I don't even think that the media cares in the first place, but it's so easy for them to control the narrative that they're just picking and choosing what they're trying to piss you off with. What's remarkable is today on Twitter, you know how Twitter curates what they decide they want to have trending? It's not organic, it's what they curate. Bloody Huffington Post, their Black Voices Twitter account, had this article about a woman who effectively looks white, but her parents are both black, and she was like, the horrible shit that white people say to me, thinking that I'm a white person. I mean, this is the voice that I'm assuming she speaks with, because that's how I assume all leftists speak. And I was just like, why the fuck is this at the top of my trending? Why?
I don't know, I haven't seen that.
Or not. I mean, I'm not saying
they tend to be true.
I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying you're doing anything
100.
I'm saying you're not doing anything like overtly offensive or illegal. Just like something basically true. Just like something as simple as, like, yeah, with what's going on with Kazakhstan, you could say, I know they're lying about this being about gas prices. It just so happened that the government came in and changed the ability for people to even access their own money without a vax passport, and then they revolted against their government, and then the media is saying it's about raising gas prices. If that was true, California would have revolted years ago. So it's just like the evidence this is before your eyes. And so when you say something like that, like, hey, we know it's not about gas. We know this is about something deeper, more profound. You even specify, and you state the facts about how the government added restrictions. When people start responding like, they see the truth. They're like, yes, yes, I know, I can see. I'm not buying the lies. And the support that comes when you say statements that just have a very small inkling of truth, it gives me hope for the future. Because you realize that, like, the media and the lies seem like a big deal just because they're coming from trained institutions and from certain groups. But the majority of U.S. people that have the power to affect change don't believe it. Like, the majority of U.S. people also don't believe it. You go, well, they go along with it. Yeah, but they don't know anything. Like, just because the majority of people are going along with all the COVID bullshit doesn't mean they don't believe anything. They're just like, I don't know. Like, they're like, I have 2 masks, which is 1 more than I have brain cells, and
that's why I don't have faith in the future and humanity, because they're so stupid they don't care to even pay attention.
3 masks, 1 brain cell. It's like
oh no, everyone's retarded. That's actually a good thing, because if we over like the I guess left-right axis, so to speak, because like people don't actually like believe these things. They just conform to like the herd consensus. And our problem isn't that, oh, they're just so correct about these things, we have to get them to our side. We have to kind of circumvent that and just take power and then command narrative, at which point the masses will take our side, because politics is just like a spectator sport. Like, people aren't going to pay attention, they're just going to watch back and forth. And I always knew these guys were right. Resources, whether finances or weapons or even like ideas.
I think just good, like, well, I don't know. I'm thinking more of like, say, when, like people like Lenin took power. They didn't really have a tremendous amount of support from outside sources. They just were really good at organizing.
No, they literally did. Lenin was actually cast out from Russia along with all the other leaders of the Russian Revolution. They came back because they were financed by the international banking cabal.
They separated into 2 different groups, and then they fought, and then one just happened to get a leg up on the other one.
What years are you referring to?
Like before Lenin took power, when videos about how many of these, like, the
changes, so to speak, throughout history. What you see is all of the like elite class and institutions, they don't go away. They like literally just assimilate to the new predominant narrative as defined by the regime. So like the elites don't stop being the elites. They're just like, oh, I guess this is what we're doing now. This is what's high class and associated implicitly with power. And so I do think that that is absolutely important.
Dude, they're so in power. Yeah. And if you talk about anybody in power, you get in trouble. Like, I mean, like, no one gets me in trouble.
It's like that.
But it's saying, like, yeah, but I'm saying, like, when you talk about people, when you talk about people who are has been taken over by the same central network that runs and finances everything around the entire world. And it's true, every war is financed, and every battle and every type of cultural shift and change and revolution in life basically comes down to the fact of what people in power want for the world, not what's best for the people in the country. And so it gets crazy to me. Like, you look at nations and like you look at what's going on. Like, you look at China with the communist revolution. Was that what was right? They don't care. And millions of people died. Technically, it was tens of millions of people people died. They didn't get it right. They've been trying to reform China for decades now, and they don't even care. Millions more people have died in the process, I believe. And so it's like, is even what's now in China the best for China? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to anybody who's in power or looking at a world. Every life is expendable. They don't care if people's lives are ruined by the pandemic. They don't care if countries are destroyed by the lockdown. If religions are completely desecrated by separating people and not allowing people to go to church. In the end, until they get the one world government, form the one world economy, they will sacrifice everybody and everything until that is formed. And that's the end goal, honestly. It is a one world government. And if you're a Christian, you would know that the ultimate goal is they rebuild the temple, and then the Antichrist sits on the throne room and declares himself God, and you can neither buy nor trade nor sell without the mark of the beast. And it's like, people said that was crazy 50 years ago, like that's not going to happen. And all of a sudden, we have marks, cards, and things that you can't buy, sell, or trade unless you join the global economic system. And it's like it's coming to life before our very eyes. I'm not claiming we are, for sure this is the end. I don't know that. No man knows the final days. But it's still just like, it blows my mind that people still are not awake to what's really going on. Like, I don't think we have a country. I don't think we don't have control of our nation. There's no, elections aren't really going to change anything. You should still vote. But like, it's not like, you can change the party, but you can't change the policy kind of thing. Like, things are already in motion. The money system, everything is already out of control.
You can. I mean, I wouldn't take it to the extent that there's no political solution. I think that the regime can overcorrect for certain discrepancies. So like what we saw in the 2020 election, when they fortified it, was you had, I think, 75 million or 71 million votes cast for Donald Trump or something. And it's like they were able to circumvent that by dumping into urban centers and cities. That's how they were able to do it. But if you had like a legitimate like red wave in terms of like state elections, I think that there's something that could be done there. And we haven't even exhausted all political options. Like we haven't actually tried to elect authentically right-wing people like ever. Legitimately ever. I mean, the Democrats controlled Congress up until like it was like a block until I think the early 1990s. We had people like Gingrich, and since then we've only imported like this neocon class. We have yet to have like an authentically right-wing conservative representation within Congress, and I think we're going to start to see that as the country continues to destabilize. People realize that they actually have to proactively conserve things as opposed to standing back.
Well, what good person wants to be a politician? That's the struggle.
I mean, it depends on how you define politician. I don't want to be a politician. I'd like to be like a ruler, a king.
Is there a word for that?
Megalomania.
Well, dude, but I asked Matt Gaetz to his face, which I like Matt. I think there's a lot of people try to do their best and try to do what they can. But I asked him, and I brought up some of this new movement of like the right-wing young people sort of moving towards this tradition. Like I'm not really there, but I see people that have the ability to fight off the communists, the left, these globalists, and I see where that's coming from. It's from this like growing young right-wing base that really loves the country and sees the real problem. But even when I talked to Matt Gaetz, he was like kind of acted like he didn't know it existed, and then was like kind of brushed it off and was like, we're not going back to anything. Like we gotta go for the future. So that's right after I told him that I kind of lost hope in Congress. But I like Matt. I'm not against him. It's just that like I don't see the current system even embracing the functions and the factions that could help us to win or get to where we are. Like look at MTG, look at Gosar. They've been stripped of all of their departments and every type of duty they have. I mean, they're getting censured left and right, and so I just like I get nervous because there is a way out. I just don't know if that's feasible. I don't know if we're there. Like I don't know if we